All right, the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100. All right, I kind of want to make the videos a little bit different moving forward here. A little bit more going into my thought process of what's really happening here in the market, etc. Right? A few things you're looking at today. Your VIX was pretty elevated for a bulk of the day, which led me to believe that downside would most likely come sometime throughout. You have the Israel-Iran conflict, which Israel continues to threaten, like, guys, we're gonna bomb you very soon. It's going to happen soon. I'm like, that's kind of terrifying. And then you looked at today, the driving force that held the market up until the last hour, 2 hours was 100% semiconductors, which is interesting that we're finally seeing NVIDIA get that breakout that we've kind of been expecting. So like AMD, NVIDIA, AVGO, ARM, they all moved really good today, and we've been talking about that. Now, the other part of this too that gets me the most excited in the market is China names, which we'll talk about here as well. So we need to be really breaking down all of that. Now, the thing that I'll say here, you make 2 steps forward and then you just go 3 steps backwards as far as the futures right now. You're not getting a clear breakout. So understand right now, no matter what I say about futures, you're not getting a clear direction to the upside or towards the downside just yet. And I'll explain exactly why. But I don't think you should be jumping the gun, saying I'm net bullish, I'm net bearish. Overall, fundamentally in the market, I feel very good. I like where we're at moving into October now and going into November. But I think you got to keep your head on a swivel with as far as the day trading metrics. So understand that viewpoint. You still have good, strong areas of the market. And we'll talk mainly about China and why I think that's happening. It's also worth mentioning China was basically closed the entire past week. And this week they're reopening. Today was National China Day, something like that. And so their market reopens tonight after this holiday just ended. So worth mentioning. In America, if you're listening, we get 1 day for the 4th of July. China gets an entire week. Let that sink in. We're jumping right back into just the Nasdaq, as you can see. And again, I like to clearly draw these levels so you can see where they come from. Again, you have your level back here. August is the 4-hour chart. Your August 22nd highs. Again, that's your big level there, 20,250. And then you also have the 1996 level as well, which you can see was that little swing low that you had way back here. You can see it right about there. So it's about 1996 locally. And when we jump in, you can see this has kind of been the story of Nasdaq on the 1-hour chart going back for the past 4 trading days, right? Clear as day, just sitting in this range. You had a nice little breakout here and then came back down into it, right? Now, ES, a little bit more here. The biggest thing on your ES, and I like to draw really big arrows now so people can see it. You're operating better than the Nasdaq. That's worth mentioning, but you just keep coming down into this massive support from your August highs. The August highs are clearly holding. You're just finding buyers there. That's where you're at. You have some intraday little levels, but overall you're just in a range. You can't really break out. Your massive levels you're watching, you have your previous highs from July, which were 57.82. And then when you broke that level, you made a high right here, 57.97. And those are your 2 levels. That's what you're watching on ES. Dow, this was probably the craziest part of the day. I was mentioning in Discord about this, and you literally just dropped like a freight train. I'm trying to bring it up on my other screen right now, show you what I mentioned in Discord. So again, you can actually see right here, we mentioned watching Dow down to 42.07, your previous all-time highs right there. You proceeded to just tank. You were I was about 30, 40 points off, but you still dropped like a rock to the downside. So not ideal with what you wanted to see there. Okay. Now, as far as the day, I want to be really clear. A lot of the trades that I'm watching in the market right now are taking quite a bit of time to set up. So even if you're in Discord, you're like, hey, why am I not getting an infinite amount of trades? Everything that we mentioned really played out. Everything across the board. Jay focused on semiconductors all morning to the upside. They were all here in trade ideas. You can check them out. And then I was really focused more on the downside on Apple and Microsoft, which I mentioned back here. Once Microsoft broke below 414.3 and held, you're looking for the downside of 413, then 410. And then also, we've mentioned Apple over and over. Jay was mentioning Apple, so I didn't want to steal his shine there. So I kind of just gave the highlight back into Apple, pushing down to 220, then 217. And you can see those trades, they took a while to play out, but once they did, you can see you actually dropped lower on Microsoft. Apple dropped down to 221, give or take, still on the way down to target number 1. But that's how this played out. And then obviously, NVIDIA semis pushed up. But the story here is you're operating in this range. That's the main thing right now. And so if you're just not confident, and this is also from my viewpoint too, I'm not confident in a clear direction of the breakout where I can hold something overnight to where I can feel confident and say, okay, I'm buying this. I'm not going to really watch it too much. That's it. If I'm trading something right now, I'm not allowing myself to be too aggressive to where I can hold position longer than I normally would, for instance. So that's what you have to understand when you're in these ranges. Can you make money? I want to make sure that people understand this. Can you make money in a range? Yes. But I think you have there's a higher percent chance you're going to lose money when you're trading a range. So I like to be very disciplined in these ranges, taking profits, getting out. I'm not always just waiting for a breakout, right? If I'm trading a breakout, I want the break and the retest for that straight continuation, ideally. Okay, understand that. Now, the other part of this too, we're watching here too, is VIX. And this is the part that had me concerned for a bulk of the day. And I even made a tweet about this. If you guys do not follow on Twitter, I recommend doing so. Again, I haven't been posting too many charts. I post the setups that I like as far as AMD, as far as, NVIDIA, a lot of these other names that we've been liking. But in either way, I recommend following on there. But I posted this earlier. I love when VIX is at 21, but the Nasdaq and ES are only moving 0.3% on the day. And that was basically like how you moved until 1 o'clock, 2 hours before market close. And then obviously VIX, started pumping up and you started seeing the market get some selling there. Again, there's some warning signs that are out there today. So again, the things you need to be paying attention to, you need to be watching closely. But I will say right now, as far as the Nasdaq is concerned, you're making higher lows still. Like, very important to understand that. Clear higher lows established since, mid-September. Worth mentioning. We go into ES. You're just sitting at that same range. You're finding buyers from the same overall level on repeat. Nothing's really changing there either. Volume today, it was piss poor. I haven't checked it. Yeah. Basically average 42. It's going to end like 43 million here in the after hours. So nothing crazy there either. You're finding buyers in the after hours. Now, so I don't want to spend too much time here. This is, if you've been here on the channel, go back to yesterday's video, whatever, see all of our levels, etc. I want to spend a bulk of this time talking about stocks that I like and what I'm looking forward to moving forward here. Number one, obviously talking a lot about BABA. We've been targeting this level, and I said BABA was a name to watch here on the day, pushing into 121, your 200 weekly moving average right there. Also, too, guys, if you're not using our indicators from Lux Algo, the link is down below. Code OD40 for 40% off your first purchase, I believe. Again, you're coming into your premium zone. So again, I'm not looking to go long on BABA here as much as we get closer to that level. The name that I'm liking the most, and I mentioned in Discord near the end of the day, was Pinduoduo. As you get above your key level here at 153, 154, I think there's a high probability he's pushing to that next level near 160. Have even your premium level up there as well. Also, if you are indicators, I don't use them a lot in the YouTube videos just because I don't like clutter. Like my thoughts to be really clear here so people don't ask a million questions. But another thing here that you can see is our volume indicator we use down there as well. So I really recommend if you're day trading, it helps out quite a bit. But yeah, we're looking for Pinduoduo to get that breakout as well. I think with China reopening, we're going to start seeing volume come back into this. We'll really see in the after hours too when China's market actually opens for futures to see like that volume kick back into the market as well. Baidu is another big one as well. Again, Baidu is coming into a resistance here near the 114, 116. What you really want to see here now on Baidu is a breakout of this level, ideally. Okay, so I want to make this really clear. The break right here, the break, retest, and continuation, that is what you want to see getting out of this level. So understand that. If you don't get that, you don't need to be the first one into Baidu. Break, retest, and then you're pushing into that 200 SMA, 200 weekly SMA at 140 as well. JD is another big one, which is going berserk. You're at a resistance kind of right now, but I do believe you can start breaking past this little, premium zone, and I'd be targeting even more so into this level up here, the $52, $53 range, about $5-6 more as well there. I'm telling you, China names are hot. China names are very, very, very hot. Now on the other side, weak names. Again, we mentioned these in yesterday's video, but again, Microsoft, names like this, very weak structurally in the market right now. You came down into your support, and again, you would see here that you're showing your discount zone on Microsoft from our indicator as well. Let's take that off real quick, make it a little cleaner. But again, you're finding some support down here. You could start dropping down to 405, 406 to start filling that little gap that you have down there as well. I'd be really worried about that. So make sure you're watching Microsoft for continued downside, especially below 410. Apple is the big dog here. We've been waiting for days for this to hold below 224. If you don't believe me, again, this is why I always say follow on Twitter. I've been trying to tell you. And what's really funny is people like try to troll here. And again, I just post this content on Twitter for free. Like, as you can see, I'm not saying follow, pay for my Discord. I'm not saying anything like that. I just talk about what I'm doing here. I said on October 3rd, if Apple breaks, I should have said it and holds below 224, it's a big, big short, right? Right? So again, things to think about, things to be looking at. Again, this content's totally free out there for you, right? So again, break, retest, continuation to the downside. Discord members got that way early. And if you're interested in Discord, the link is down below. And if you can't join from the link down below, it might be sold out right now. DM me on Twitter. I might even give you a discount code, so check it out. Just send me a DM, follow, and send me a DM there. But that's what we're looking at right now on Apple. More continued downside. People are very interested in Tesla. I think Tesla is honestly a short into the 200 weekly SMA 236. I'd be looking for downside there. I'm not looking for upside there right now. ARM is another really interesting name. We talked a lot about this one. You had higher lows all day throughout the day. I mentioned in Discord as well, getting above 140, 141. You're going to push into 143. Actually push into 145, which was crazy. But again, still looking good there as well on semiconductors. What you really like to see here and what's overall really happening there. So again, some of my favorite names, what I'm really watching out there. I want to add in. There's a few things that you're not going to be able to predict right now, especially while you're in this range. Number one, Israel-Iran conflict. You're not going to be able to time this stuff, right? Israel just keeps saying it's going to happen soon. I'm like, okay, sure. And when it happens, you're probably going to get a dip on the market. So understand that. But even if you're trying to short that and time that perfectly, you've been getting bounces. So I'm not blindly shorting. And I still think the market's showing a lot of resilience despite some of the bad news that's out there. So those are things to really be focused on right now. The other part, I think the market's holding up really well. Just broadly speaking, number one, semiconductors finally getting back involved. We talked a lot about this. I mean, everyone said, oh, NVIDIA was a trap. You went from like 125 back down to 120, 119. Now you hit 130 here on the day. What are we talking about? I continue to say NVIDIA long dated positions are the best. It's the best trade out there right now. It's like, I don't want to say risk free, but I don't lose sleep at night with that position. Okay. AMD, these other ones were really great positions, but those are big slowdowns right now. I'm not looking to start hammering AMD or ARM right now. I like ARM a lot. It's more of a day trade. I understand that as well. I'm looking at AVGO right now on the screen too. I like AVGO above 175. Really interesting. But those trades had better entry points right now. Okay, they had those a few days ago. So don't be just blindly rushing into these names, right? I keep saying this. Let the setups, let the levels come to you. And that's the biggest part here is the break and the retest. Because anyone's saying, well, Tyler, and we're going to see those comments say like, Tyler, dude, today was terrible. The market's bearish, this and that. I'm like, are you really? You're just back at levels that you tested 2 days ago. You know what I mean? You made new highs and you kind of new like intraday local highs, right, over the past week or so. And then you come back down. So nothing's really separating, right? And then you have other areas of the market that are making higher highs and higher lows. And then you have other areas that are showing weaker. So again, food for thought, things to be thinking about right now, okay? Because I will say right now, you don't have that clear-cut direction of breaking out to the upside versus breaking out to the downside. But I would say, despite all the conflict, despite all the uncertainty, that things look better, in my opinion, than they potentially should. I think you're setting up more for the upside than you are for setting up for the breakdown to the downside. It's a personal opinion right now for myself. What I'm looking over on the market. If you have questions, comment down below. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one, traders.